Hello everyone and welcome to the video lecture on functional modeling developing a DFD, that's the data flow diagram. At the end of this session, the students will be able to develop a data flow model of a system. So here in this video lecture, we will be understanding how to start developing the data flow diagram, that is the data flow model of a system, by considering a problem description for a wholesale software system. We will be understanding and developing the top level DFD and then further navigating to the successive DFDs for the processes identified. So let's get going. To develop a data flow model of a system, a hierarchy of DFDs are constructed. The top level DFD comprises of a single process and the actors interacting with it. So at each successive lower level, further details are gradually included. A process is decomposed into sub-process. The data flows among the sub-processes are identified, the control flows are determined, and the data stores are defined. So when we start with the top level DFD, it's very essential to identify the process at a broader view and then further start decomposing that process into sub-process. So while decomposing a process, the thing that the designer needs to consider is that the data flow into or out of the process should match the data flow at the next level of DFD. So let's now try to understand the process of developing a DFD for a software system of wholesale software. So this is the problem description for the software. Let us consider a software system that has been designed and developed, that is the wholesale software. So this software automates the transaction of a wholesale shop. The shop sells in bulks and has a clientele comprising of merchants and retail shop owners. Each customer is asked to register with his/her particulars and is given a unique customer code, that is the C_code. Once a sale is done, the shop registers its details and sends the goods for dispatch. Each year, the shop distributes Christmas gifts to its customers, which comprise a silver coin or a gold coin depending on the total sales and the decision of the proprietor. So this is the problem description, and for this software system, we are expected to design and develop a DFD. So now the functional model for the wholesale software is given as below. So the figure here shows the top level DFD. So it shows the software, entire software as a single process and the actors that interact with it. So this is a top level DFD, and you can see over here the wholesale software itself is considered as one whole process, and this one whole process will be further decomposed into subsequent sub-processes. Now once the process is identified, you have the actors that have been identified from the problem description. So the actors are the customers, the salesperson, the proprietor. And here the data flows in such a way as I'll be reading out. So the customer, that is the actor, enters the customer details into this wholesale software. Then the salesperson enters the sales particulars. Further, the proprietor enters the gift information. Then based on this, the customer gets the C code from the wholesale software, and based on that it gets the gifts. So this is a top level DFD of this problem description. Now when we go on to decomposing this process, we see that in the next level the major processes of the system are identified. The data stores are defined and the interaction of these processes with the actors, the data stores are established. Now if you see, this was the entire top level DFD and the wholesale software was considered as one process. But when we go to the next level, we need to further break down or decompose them into different sub-processes. So now the sub-processes which are identified are register customer, process sales, and a certain gifts. And with these three processes, you have the data stores that will be required are the customer details, the sales details, and the gift details. So now I hope you have understood. At the next level, we have identified three processes and these data stores. Now you see the same DFD of the wholesale process, where we have broken it down into three processes, that is the register customer, process sales, and a certain gifts. Now the customer has the customer details as the data store, the salesperson has the sales details as the data store, the gift process has the gift details as the data store. So the simple top level DFD which was here now is actually expanded with additional processes and the data stores for that specific process. And now you see here the customer enters the customer particulars and register the customer. It gets the C code. Then these customer details are stored into the customer data store. Then with respect to the process sales, the salesperson enters the sales particulars, the sales details are stored here, and this goes to a certain gifts where the gift information is given by the proprietor. Then these gift details, the gift details are kept over here in the data store of gift details, and then this is given to the customer. So this is the subsequent processes and the data store added to the top level DFD. We now go to the next step, that is the following figure shows in detail the process of register customer. There are three processes in it. Now further, now we simply consider this particular process. Now we break down this process. So what does this consider? This further has verify details, generate C code, update customer details. So when the details of the customer are entered, they are verified. If the data is correct, the C code is generated and the data store customer details is updated. Now this is what the DFD for the customer process look likes. So here you have the customer particulars. These details have, there is a process, verify details. If the details are verified, you have the next process, that is the generate C code. The C code is generated, it's updated in the customer detail process, and here it is being stored in the customer details. Okay, so this was the subsequent level DFD. Now the following figure shows the expansion of process or certain gifts. Now this was a second process. So this has two processes in it. So the find total sales. So if when we want to give the gift, so obviously you have to find out the total sales and decide the gift coin as it was told in the description. So the find the total sale process computes the yearly total sales corresponding to each customer and records the data. So taking this record and the decision of the proprietor as input, the gift coins are allotted through decide type of gift coins process. Now you see over here for the gift process, we have find the total sales, like the sales detail, the total sales from the data store, and here you decide. Now once you have the total sales, and then you have to decide whether the coin is going to be a gold coin or a silver coin. Now I just take you back once again to this entire process where we now try to see how we have from this problem description drawn a top level DFD which was further broken for different processes, and then we have compiled it. So this was again this the wholesale software. So the wholesale software had three processes: register customer, process sales, and a certain gifts, and how these processes further had the subsequent process. Now you see here the register customer, process sales, and a certain gifts. These were the subsequent level processes which were decomposed from the wholesale process. And now you see that the register process was further break down into verify details and customer and generate code. Similarly, the next a certain gifts was broken down into decide the gift coin and the total sales. So now I think that you have got a pretty understanding of how to develop a DFD, and therefore I would like you all to pause the video and think for some time. So develop a top level DFD for customer account verification, balance update, whether the customer enters the amount and the transaction is updated. So this is the problem statement, and for this particular simple customer account verification, you just have to draw a TFD. So pause the video. This is the answer. The customer as the actor, account as the data store, and you have verify and update as the process, and you have the data flows along with the messages. So these are the references. I hope you have understood. So thank you for your patient listening.